like to welcome to the program Certified Financial Planner Practitioner, Carolyn Nolan. Carolyn is a private wealth advisor with Ameriprise Financial Services in Winchester, Massachusetts. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thanks for having me, David.
Glad to have you. Love talking about financial planning. Can't get enough.
Let's do it.
All right. So the process. One of the ways to approach it is to kind of categorize stuff. I think you use the cornerstones of financial planning. Give us an overview.
Great. So financial planning isn't just about the investments. It's addressing how do we always have a smart place to get money when we need it, whenever we need it, for whatever we may need it for, irrespective of what's happening in the markets. So how do we do that? It's the four cornerstones. First in order, we're addressing what are our cash reserve needs.
Good.
And how do we look at our debt. Secondly, we're going to address protection. Third, look at tax strategies. And then lastly, we'll get to the investments.
Fair enough. Why does the investing, and I'm all for all those other areas being in first order, why does investing get all the attention? Why the focus? You know, again, a lot of financial stuff on the news and on TV is investing. Why not more of a broad look at financial in general?
You know what, David? I just think that that's what people get excited about. Is they're excited about what could be. It's exciting to just talk about things growing. And let's be serious, the media is just throwing it at us left and right. So it's what most people want to talk about, but what they don't realize, it's these other pieces that actually gets you more likely in a position that your investments can work better for you.
Very good. It serves as the foundation.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So, all right. So let's say we've got the foundation. We've got the other corners, and we want to talk investing. What are some of the most important things to think about when choosing investments?
So when you're choosing your investments, first, it's understanding yourself. So what is my risk tolerance? Or I think more appropriately, we should address what's our loss tolerance.
Right.
Carolyn, I don't want to talk about losing money. Well, Mr. or Mrs. Client, part of what can go up can also go down.
Sure. So
how do you seriously understand what kind of volatility that you're comfortable with? Secondly, you want to think about your time frame. So if I have a goal that's under, for example, 3 years, we shouldn't even be talking about investments.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good.
And when it comes to your investments, it's not something you read about, but what I've seen firsthand is that as more zeros are at the end of a portfolio or account statement, people tend to feel differently.
Right.
So I strongly encourage folks, when they're thinking about that loss tolerance, don't think in terms of percentages.
Thank you.
Because let me tell you, I've never seen a case that someone feels the same about a 50% volatility on a $10,000 portfolio the same way as they would in a $10 million portfolio.
Yes, exactly. Well put. That's good. I like that. We're on the same page. So you speak to another point. The crucial aspect of diversification. You know, part of our risk tolerance is understanding that things are going to go up and down, but we don't want that to have a permanent loss, right? So that's maybe where the diversification can help us.
So diversification is going to do a couple things. So first, it's going to enable us to mitigate as much of that diversifiable risk, the risk that you actually can minimize by having different asset classes, or let's think of it, let's not use that word asset class. Carolyn, what the heck does that mean? Well, if you're gonna put together a team, and you may have this, let's talk about baseball. I don't even like baseball, but let's think about baseball. You're gonna have a catcher, you're gonna have a pitcher, you're gonna have a first baseman, a second baseman, a third baseman. And similarly, when you're putting together your asset allocation, your portfolio, you want to have all the players on the field at the same time. What's different when it comes to your investments is that relative to your risk profile, there's going to be a different weighing to the different levels of risk classes.
So what do you say, using your analogy, to a client who says, you know what, Carolyn, I hear your baseball analogy, but I want all first basemen. I like the way they're built. I want my investment portfolio to be all first basemen. What do you say?
What I'm going to say to that client is very simply, actually what I'm going to show them is not trust me, but let me actually show you what this looks like. And I'm going to show you a chart that you're going to see that year by year, every single year, if we look at from the best to the worst performing asset classes, a different player on the field is having a rock star year.
Right.
Every single year. So let me tell you this, if we could choose who's gonna have the best year consistently all the time, that's what we'd all do.
Of course. But we can't. And so they need to understand is, yes, you might like first baseman, but guess what? There's going to be times when your all first baseman portfolio is really going to be in trouble. And if you want to mitigate risk and diversify it, we've got to get the whole team.
Another analogy I heard that I love is the idea that you have a dog on a leash, and are you following the dog or are you following the dog walker?
Right.
So the person that's pulling the dog on the leash is kind of your asset allocation portfolio, even though the market can do all these different things. So the more diversified we are, we're going to have the ability to have a smoother ride or a smoother walk.
Speak to...
Don't chase the dog, okay?
No, that's right. We won't mess with the dog. So speak to the idea that some people maybe are better served working with an advisor versus doing it themselves.
Yeah, so what's really awesome now is that the do-it-yourselfers have amazing resources that they previously didn't have. I use the analogy all the time with my clients of you should choose to engage our team because we are like a personal trainer with money. Right. So and it doesn't mean if you don't like personal trainers, you shouldn't work with a financial advisor. The point is, if I am comfortable and confident and consistently stay on track by whether it's just going to the gym by myself and doing my workout routine, or I follow an app, or I have my running routine, that's great. And there's amazing resources out there. The biggest thing that an advisor can give you that you can't give yourself is objectivity. Sometimes it's accountability.
Sure.
And frankly, just having a resource that isn't selling you something. So unlike if you try to do a Google search of what's out there, right, you don't know what ads are actually getting in your filter.
Well, and an advisor can be a buffer. That's a buffer between you and the market. And the other thing that I had this conversation recently with somebody who was thinking, well, do I want to do it myself or do I want to hire an advisor? And I'm like, well, here are three things. You better like it, you better be good at it, and you better have time. Because if you don't have one of those, it's not going to work. And that's where the advisor, and again, you want to be picky, you want to be careful who you work with, but that's where the advisor can play a role.
Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that we've seen is that, and it's also finding the right advisor for you. So someone that you believe you can have an effective conversation with, that genuinely understands you, that you can say exactly what you're thinking and you trust and know they're going to treat you the same and tell you what they think back. So you can not just be told what to do, but understand why it's what you should do and to help you. Ultimately, the whole point of having financial advisors is to help you make good choices.
Right.
To help you get to where you're trying to get to most directly. And I don't know if I'd say equally or more important is helping you to avoid making bad choices.
Yeah. It's the why, I think, that's really the key, is why to do what you're doing and understand it.
That's exactly right.
Good stuff. Carolyn Nolan, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
At Holland Financial, we know a strong retirement plan is unique to you. Let's find the right plan together. Holland Financial. Plan Stronger.